U.S. calls for pause on Johnson & Johnson vaccine after clotting cases. Washington, federal health agencies on Tuesday called for an immediate pause in use of Johnson & Johnson's single-dose coronavirus vaccine after 6 recipients in the United States developed a rare disorder involving blood clots within about 2 weeks of vaccination. All 6 recipients were women between the ages of 18 and 48. One woman died and a second woman in Nebraska has been hospitalized in critical condition. Nearly 7 million people in the United States have received Johnson & Johnson shots so far, and roughly 9 million more doses have been shipped out to the states, according to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. We are recommending a pause in the use of this vaccine out of an abundance of caution, Dr. Peter Marks, Director of the Food and Drug Administration's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, and Dr. Anshu Chat, Principal Deputy Director of the CDC, said in a joint statement. Right now, these adverse events appear to be extremely rare. While the move was framed as a recommendation to health practitioners in the states, the federal government is expected to pause administration of the vaccine at all federally run vaccination sites. Federal officials expect that state health officials will take that as a strong signal to do the same. So what do we do if we were scheduled to get a J&J shot this week? Edit: my appointment has been cancelled on me and the 4 pharmacies I called have all appointments on hold. I just want someone to give me a shot. Any shot. I should probably stay off Facebook for a while. Edit: believe me guys, I would stay off of it forever if I could. I run a few businesses and advertise through Facebook ads and on Marketplace, so I kind of need it. I don't do much lurking, though. I'm on day 24 after getting the J&J shot. Most notable side effect has been lip swelling. I do not have lip or dental fillers. It happened on days 1 and 2 and again today. It's uncomfortable, but not painful. Age 39, female. It's unfortunate because I have to record my final presentation for a college class today. Gonna look like I got bad Botox. This shows just how cautious medicine is and how open they are about, even tiny, risks. Patients should be fully informed about any risks to achieve proper consent. But I can't help to think that more people will die by issuing this cautious pause and scaring people away from being vaccinated. Public health officials have a difficult job balancing the rights and emotions of an individual versus the overall health of the population. I really hope they find these are anomalies and they don't derail the recovery we've been experiencing. 2 vaccines now paused affecting the US and EU. The optics aren't great. I think I had or may still be dealing with a clot from my JJ vaccine. I'm a 27F on birth control pills. I was in the ER for chest pains on Friday and had visual disturbances soon after taking my birth control on Saturday and went to the ER again. On Friday, my dimer levels were 767 out of a 0-241 scale, which can be indicative of a clot. So they did a cord scan on my torso since I was having chest pains then. It was clean, so they sent me home. They didn't check my dimer levels on Saturday and diagnosed me with an ocular migraine, treated it pretty successfully and sent me home. I still have the ocular migraine symptoms if I move around or do too much. I'm going to stop taking my birth control for now and am currently waiting to hear back from my doctor after requesting referrals for a head cord scan and another dimer test. I read that they women were getting CVST clots, which are a type of stroke. LMK if anyone cares, and I can follow up with an update. I also want to say that the 6 million is a lot smaller if you isolate it to the 6/women 1848. That's a very different number and I'm happy they paused the vaccine. Update: I I spoke with my GP and she's ordering more blood tests and another dimer test, so I will be going to the lab for that today. She also ordered a cord scan, but said that it probably won't be till later this week since the only way to get one immediately would be to go to her, based on my symptoms and with how small the risk is. She does not think I had a blood clot. I also had one of the most stressful weeks of my life prior to all this happening, so that probably had a huge role in this, and I apologize for not putting that in my original post, but she did advise me to stop taking my birth control, so if you're worried and you are on the pill, it probably wouldn't hurt to just stop taking it until you are out of the 2-week period. Use backup protection. She also advised me that I don't need to take any aspirin, but I have taken it upon myself to consume some blood-thinning things like ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, sunflower seeds, and pineapple. I'll continue to update as I learn things. Thank you everyone for your support and concern. I wish you and your loved ones happiness and health. Just watch patiently for any symptoms and do your best not to stress about it. Things like this happen. These are unprecedented times. Stay safe. I was scheduled to get a J&J vaccine Wednesday from Walmart. I cancelled and rescheduled with the place that gives the Pfizer vaccine. I assume that Walmart or other companies may temporarily halt administering the vaccine before then, so I wanted to be sure. Luckily my Pfizer vaccine is today. So many comments here of people talking about how low of a chance it is to get this. You can both support the vaccines and be concerned about efficacy. They are not mutually exclusive. Vaccines are highly scrutinized because it is some of the only medicine given to healthy people. There better be near absolute zero risk for it to gain acceptance. If it ends up getting pulled totally, that is okay. Your fight you had with your uncle over Easter still had valid points and you weren't wrong about getting a vaccine. We have 2 other very good vaccines, and this gives even more support to the revolutionary breakthrough that is Moderna vaccines. If you haven't seen yet, they are having success with its use in HIV and are looking at cancer now too. If it matters, I have a PhD in biomedical engineer, focus on immunology. Got my J&J on Friday. I had debated waiting to get Pfizer, but everything I read said the best vaccine to get is the one offered to you, so went ahead with J&J. Little frustrated, but I understand the risk is so low. Just a little venting. So random event that happened to me. I received the J&J about 10 days ago. Yesterday I went to the ER for extreme chest pain. EKG was all good, and they couldn't find anything else. Could this be related? Positively reinforced the fact that they had followed the proper safety measures when met with findings of adverse outcomes. Part of why anti-vaccine people are anti-vaxxers is because they do not have trust in the system. This here shows that the system is working, and big pharma or government, whatever floats your conspiracy theorist, isn't in some sort of plot to do us all harm. Part of the risk with COVID itself is in causing clotting disorders, so it is good that they are being cautious and maybe even with this get better understanding on who is at risk for those clotting issues. I remember reading about drug and product trials, talking about a bias for testing men instead women, then applying the results to both sexes, and it seems like women are the highest risk of clotting with both AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. Is there a correlation between these two things? I am wondering this. I'm not arguing the pause is right or wrong, as I don't have enough info or the expertise to make any sort of judgment on this and want to wait and see more experts weigh in. However, it is infuriating, maddening to hear the fake outrage of some of my family members and people I know use this news of 6 people as a sign of "I told you so." It's such a new and risky vaccine, and in no way will I be getting it when these are the same people who after 500,000 dead told me it's such a statistically small amount of people that die or get seriously sick, and those that do are already sick or dying. It's like they couldn't wait for news like this to justify their actions because of potential side effects, as if COVID doesn't have side effects and long-term ramifications as well. I got the J&J vaccine a couple weeks ago, and technically at risk as I'm currently on hormonal birth control. While I had none of the blood clotting symptoms, my side effects were hella bad. From 12-24 hours after getting the vaccine, I felt like I got hit by a bus. Massive kidney and back pain, aches, nausea, headaches, fever. My husband, who got the same vax with me, had zero side effects. I wonder when we have more data if we'll find that women are more adversely affected, and whether it's tied to birth CO. The same idiots that said you shouldn't live in fear of a 1% COVID mortality rate are terrified of a 0.00001% chance of having an adverse reaction. This will be unpopular, but I was surprised to learn that healthcare and medicine leans favorably toward males. All of the classic heart attack symptoms we are taught to look for are those found most commonly in males. There's a whole separate list of symptoms for females, and many women don't recognize their own heart attacks because nobody has told them the signs might be different. The same can be said for autism. Females are often misdiagnosed or diagnosed much later than males because we exhibit symptoms much different than the common list everyone is taught to look for. This will be unpopular, but I was surprised to learn that healthcare and medicine leans favorably toward males. All of the classic heart attack symptoms we are taught to look for are those found most commonly in males. There's a whole separate list of symptoms for females, and many women don't recognize their own heart attacks because nobody has told them the signs might be different. The same can be said for autism. Females are often misdiagnosed or diagnosed much later than males because we exhibit symptoms much different than the common list everyone is taught to look for. This will most likely get lost in the slew of comments, but if you're from the US, please sign up for V-Safe. This is a checker ran by the CDC that monitors vaccine side effects. They send you text messages to monitor any changes, and if you encounter any issues, they will contact you. It's free and worth it. It's interesting that all the anti-vaxxers comment things like those are 6 people, 6 families who lost someone, when they're the same ones who were saying we have to get back to normal life. And if people die from COVID, that's their problem. Out of 6 million people who do not have the JJ vaccine, how many of them will develop blood clots over a 2-week period? Is the occurrence of blood clots in the population with the JJ vaccine higher or similar to the broader population? So a lot of people in these comments seem to be dismissing this and saying it's not actually statistically significant, but I think this is great. As someone who is on the fence with the vaccine due to no long-term data, it actually gives me a lot more confidence in them seeing the FDA and CDC take even a very small number of reactions this seriously. It makes me feel much better about getting any of the vaccines when I'm seeing measures being taken to ensure the safety even in the slightest thing going wrong. I will have a lot of confidence in the J&J once it solves this issue. These vaccines are new and it's okay to still be figuring out certain things. So no 6 out of 6 million isn't a lot, but those are 6 real people, and I think this shows immense responsibility and commitment to safety of the vaccines. Before people freak out, This is just so the medical community can gather the data they need and are prepared to deal with the clots. This doesn't mean it's going to be banned, only that the doctors will be prepared. You literally have a greater chance of being in a car crash driving to the appointment than you do of getting a clot from the vaccine. You have more chance of dying from a heart attack before you get the vaccine. 1 in a million is extremely rare. Let's keep some perspective here. Just got the J&J vaccine yesterday and the side effects were way more intense than I expected. I got it around 1 p.m. and everything was fine until around 8 p.m. I went from feeling completely normal to shaking uncontrollably in the span of about a minute. I had a high fever and a horrible headache, all of which developed unbelievably fast. I threw up several times. But eventually I took some Tylenol and fell asleep around 12:30 a.m. I woke up around 1 a.m. and my bed and clothes were absolutely soaked in sweat, so much so that for a second I thought I peed in my bed. Though everything was soaked in sweat, my shaking was mostly gone and I felt a lot better. I slept sporadically, and now at 11 a.m. I have a headache and no appetite, and maybe a slight fever, but other than that I feel significantly better. I'm not saying this to scare people from taking the vaccine. In fact, I think everyone should get vaccinated, but just know what to expect. Venous thrombosis, including deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism, occurs at an annual incidence of about 1 per 1,000 adults. Rates increase sharply after around age 45 years, and are slightly higher in men than women in older age. Nearly 7 million people in the United States have received Johnson & Johnson shots so far. 6 recipients in the United States developed a rare disorder involving blood clots within about 2 weeks of vaccination. Out of 7 million people, shouldn't 7,000 experience a blood clot sometime this year, or about 134 per week? Real question: what is the normal rate of blood clots for women 18 to 48 in any given 2-week period? I know they have to halt administration if there are any serious adverse events, but 6 sounds about right in normal conditions in a 2-week period. I cross the street via crosswalk because it's probably the safest path, with the knowledge that someone could blow through a light and render me a meat crayon. This is the second time in 5 days that my vaccine appointment has been cancelled. I just want the shot. Got mine yesterday. Less than 5 minutes after getting the shot, an ambulance arrived to wheel someone away. The guy next to me was pale, sweaty, and checked in on several times. That 20 minutes after wait was fun. These next 3 weeks are going to be fun too. Just in case you didn't read this or are not up to speed, this was 6 individual cases out of nearly 7 million shots given. Not even 1 in a million. I know that doesn't get clicks, sell headlines, but you genuinely have little to worry about. So I saw 6 in 7 million. At what point do we weigh the consequence of pausing a major vaccine and its rollout against an extremely rare, fatal side effect? More than 500,000 people in the US died and counting. Are we willing to risk more of those deaths for something that is an extremely small risk? I'm a 27-year-old woman who received this vaccine just under 3 weeks ago and I feel absolutely fine. I am really not worried at all. Mostly because it's already in my body, and so what can I do anyway? So this is what this news tells me: a previously unknown risk has come up and they must do their duty to inform those that have received it and can properly inform people going forward. It is also nice that they've given info about the specific group of people affected and that it occurred within the first 3 weeks. Really gives me comfort and allows me to move on. I just got the J&J yesterday. I'm the only one I know in my circle to get this one. I haven't been sick in literally years, but then I woke up in bad shape. 100.3 fever, unbelievably massive headache, nauseous, and just weak and achy all over. I'm still not worried about it. But damn, I didn't expect my dick to get knocked in the dirt like this. I'm glad they're being cautious, also glad I got it done. I think it's good that they're being cautious and trying to get to the bottom of this issue. Maybe there is a link to contraception. On one hand, the anti-vaxxers might have a field day, but at the same time, they might see that scientists are trying to improve the safety of the vaccines. Every person who gets COVID matters, and every person who has an adverse effect from a vaccine matters. It's good they're going to revise it and hopefully make it better. I got the Pfizer and I did notice they didn't ask me about contraception. Maybe that's a question they should also add to the list before you get the vaccine. Yeah, the risk is small, but it still matters. Good medicine will always revise and improve.